Hello all, this is Sandeep Kumar and I welcome you back to my YouTube channel Math with Sandeep. So in the first video we have seen the definition of limit of a function and we have seen when does the limit of a function exist and when it does not exist using LHL and RHL. We have seen the concepts in first video and then in second video we have seen basic problems on how to find LHL and RHL and how to check whether limit of a function exists or not. So in third video, this is the third video in the chapter of limits. So in third video, we will see more problems, detailed problems on checking the existence of limits. Very important models. Please observe these are our basics. So we will check whether the limit of a function exists or not using LHL and RHL. Okay now, so let us continue solving the problems. First question. Here is our first question. So we are supposed to find limit x approaches pi by 2 step of sin x. This is not normal brackets, this is step of sin x. Okay, now you know already what is step x. Okay, so let us see how to find step of sin x when x approaches pi by 2. So we will take LHL and also RHL. So left hand limit x approaches pi by 2 minus step of sin x, step of sin x. Okay, so fine, we know that when x approaches pi by 2 minus, what is the meaning of it? It means pi by 2 minus h only, right? So it is equal to limit, and when I replace x with pi by 2 minus h, instead of this limit we will write h approaches 0. Correct or not? Where h is positive real number and it is approaching 0. H is approaching 0, step of sin of, instead of x, dear students, let me write pi by 2 minus h. So which is equal to limit h approaches 0, and all of us know that sin of 90 minus h will be cos h. Now you can substitute h value as 0. So when you substitute h value as 0, what do you get? Cos 0. Cos 0 is 1. Step 1 is, wait a second, a small correction here. What is it? Cos, it is not exactly 0, it is 0 plus, because when h is approaching 0, h is not exactly 0, it is 0 plus. Okay now, cos of 0 plus, see cos 0 is 1, but what is cos 0 plus? Cos of 0 point something is 0.99 and so on. Correct? So this is the mistake sometimes that we do. We will write cos 0 and we will write 1 and we will write step 1 is equal to 1. That is the mistake that we are doing. Dear students, cos of 0 plus, it is not exactly 0. 0 plus means what? Cos of 0 point something, which is 0.999 and so on. And step of 0.99 something is 0. The left hand limit is 0. And instead of doing all this process, we can also answer this question directly. How do we answer this question directly? X approaches pi by 2 minus. I can write it as what? Step of sin pi by 2 minus. Sin 90 is 1. But this is pi by 2 minus. That means what? 89.99 something. Sin of 89.99 something is what? 0.99 something. So which is equal to 0. So you can answer the question objectively like this directly, but if you want step by step solution, you can follow this method. Okay now, so similarly, see, I got LHL as 0. I got LHL is equal to 0. Let me see what is RHL. So RHL, when x approaches pi by 2 plus, what is step of sin x? So we can answer it just like LHL. So instead of x, we can write pi by 2 plus h, and then we can see what is the answer. Instead of following that lengthy method directly, we can also write like this if you are doing it objectively. So sin of, instead of x, we will take pi by 2 plus. We know that sin 90 is 1, but sin of 90 plus something means what? Sin of 90.000 and so on. Sin 90 is 1, but sin of 90 point something will be 0.99 and so on. 0.99 and so on. Again, step of 0.99 and so on will be 0. So RHL is also 0. We got LHL as 0, we got RHL as also 0. So LHL is equal to RHL, both are equal to 0. So therefore, dear students, the limit of this particular function is 0. So I will give you some questions, you can try it, which look like the first question. Okay, now I will give you some models, you can try it yourself and let me know what are the answers in comment sections. So here is second question, which is same as first question. You can take down these questions and you can try it yourself and let me know what are the answers in comment sections. You can try it yourself just like the first question. Okay now, so we'll go with third question. In third question, they have given f of x. If x is less than 1, then f of x is equal to 2kx plus 3. And if x is greater than 1, then f of x is equal to 1 minus kx square. Okay, now here k is unknown number, but it is a constant. And they also told in the question that if limit x approaches 1, f of x exists. Then what is the value of k? Application of the concept. When limit exists, if left hand limit is equal to right hand limit, correct or not? So it is observed that limit x approaches 1, f of x exists. So since limit exists when x is approaching 1, it means that left hand limit is equal to right hand limit. Therefore, dear students, limit x approaches 1 minus f of x is equal to limit x approaches 1 plus f of x. The left hand limit is equal to right hand limit. So observe one thing, x approaches 1 minus means x is less than 1, and when x is less than 1, f of x is equal to 2kx plus 3 because x is less than 1. So here limit x approaches 1 minus f of x is what? 2kx plus 3. And here in the right side limit x approaches 1 plus means what? X is more than 1. X approaches 1 plus means x is greater than 1. When x is greater than 1, then f of x is equal to 1 minus kx square. So f of x is 1 minus kx square. Now we can directly substitute x as 1. Actually we are supposed to substitute 1 minus h, but it's okay. Let us substitute x as 1. So 2k into 1 plus 3 is equal to 1 minus k into x is 1 square. So 2k plus 3 is equal to 1 minus k, and minus k will come left side and 3 goes right side. So 2k plus k equal to 1 minus 3. That implies 3k is equal to minus 2. K is equal to minus 2 by 3. The value of k is minus 2 by 3. So if k value is minus 2 by 3, then limit x approaches 1 exists. Okay, now k is equal to minus 2 by 3. If you are still confused, why did I take x as directly 1? Why not 1 minus h? If you want, you can take 1 minus h here, you can substitute 1 plus h. But after that h approaches 0 means we will substitute h value 0 only. Na? So 1 plus h means 1 plus 0, 1 only. Here 1 minus h. 1 minus h means 1 minus 0, 1 only. Here 1 plus h. 1 plus 0, 1 only. So we have taken it directly. Okay, now. So this is the third question. Application of existence of limit. So if limit x approaches 1, f of x exists, then LHL is equal to RHL. So based on that we got k value which is minus 2 by 3. So if you find these kind of models in your objective book or in your reference book, you can solve them. Okay, we'll go with next question, another important model question. Here is our next question. So fourth one, f of x is equal to plus 1 if x is a rational number q. X belongs to q means x is a rational number. If your input x is a rational number, then f of x is 1. And if your input x is irrational number, then f of x is minus 1. Okay, now then they are asking us to find only left hand limit. Please observe, limit x approaches 2 minus f of x. They are asking us to find only left hand limit. Let us see how to solve this question. This is very easy question, but the problem is that, dear students, when x approaches 2 minus, x is just lesser than 2. But that value, x is just less than 2 na? That means what? X is equal to 2 minus h. When x is 2 minus h, we cannot say whether 2 minus h is a rational number or 2 minus h is irrational. We don't know, because 2 minus h can be a rational number or it can be irrational number. So let us split the case into split the solution into two cases. So case 1, what if x which is 2 minus h is a rational number? Then what is left hand limit? Limit x approaches 2 minus f of x. So when x approaches 2 minus, that means when x is just lesser than 2, we have taken it as rational number. X is a rational number. Okay, now this 2 minus is a rational number. Then what is f of x equal to? Plus 1. So left hand limit is equal to plus 1 when if 2 minus is a rational number. Similarly case 2. What is case 2? What if x is equal to 2 minus h is a irrational number? What if 2 minus h is a irrational number? Then limit x approaches 2 minus f of x is equal to what, dear students? X approaches 2 minus and that number is a irrational number. Then f of x is equal to what? Minus 1. Please observe one thing. The left hand limit is plus 1 if x is a rational number, if that number is rational number, and the same left hand limit is minus 1 if x is irrational number. See, we should not get two different answers. For rational number or for irrational number, LHL must be same. Then only we will write LHL is equal to that number. But the problem is that when x is a rational number, LHL is plus 1, and when x is a irrational number, LHL is minus 1. We are not getting the same answer. LHL is not equal to same number. Therefore, what is the conclusion? Therefore, limit x approaches to minus f of x does not exist. It doesn't exist. Left hand limit doesn't exist, because we are getting different answers for left hand limit. Okay, now let us answer the next question, which is of same model. Okay, here is our next question. What is it? If f of x equal to x when x is a rational number, and same f of x is 1 minus x when if x is a irrational number. Okay, then they are asking us to find limit x approaches 1 by 2 f of x. Fine. To find limit x approaches 1 by 2 f of x, first of all, let us find LHL. To find LHL again, just like in the previous question, here also to find LHL, there are two cases. Okay, we are actually finding LHL. Now in case 1, what we are doing, dear students, limit x approaches 1 by 2 minus f of x. In case 1, x is approaching 1 by 2 minus means x is equal to 1 by 2 minus h, 1 by 2 minus something. Let that number is a rational number. Let 1 by 2 minus h is what number? Rational number. If that is the case, then what is f of x? F of x is same as x. Because your input x is a rational number, instead of f of x, let us write x. So x approaches 1 by 2 minus x. Now since only x is there, we can substitute x as 1 by 2. The original answer is 1 by 2 minus, but let it be 1 by 2. X, we substituted x value as 1 by 2, the answer is 1 by 2. Now in case 2 also we are finding left hand limit only. In case 1 we have taken this x value as a rational number, and in case 2 we will take the x value as irrational number. So once again we are finding left hand limit, x approaches 1 by 2 minus. That means what? X is equal to 1 by 2 minus h. And what if this number is a irrational number? So limit x approaches 1 by 2 minus f of x. If x is irrational number, we will write f of x as 1 minus x. Correct? So limit x approaches 1 by 2 minus, instead of f of x, we are going to write 1 minus x. In the previous case, we took f of x as x because x is a rational number. In this case, we will take f of x as 1 minus x because x is a irrational number. So we will substitute x value as 1 by 2. So 1 minus 1 by 2, which is equal to 1 by 2. The left hand limit in case 1 is 1 by 2. The left hand limit in case 2 is also 1 by 2. Therefore, directly we can say that LHL is equal to 1 by 2. See, in the previous example, we got different answers. So we wrote left hand limit does not exist. But in this case, we got same answers in case 1. And also in case 2, we got left hand limit as 1 by 2. Therefore, LHL is equal to 1 by 2. Now, dear students, can you find RHL? Same way, you have to split it into case 1 and case 2. Same way, you split it into case 1 and case 2 and find RHL, and you prove that RHL is also equal to 1 by 2. RHL also will be 1 by 2. So you can do it. Okay, now. So since LHL is 1 by 2 and RHL is also 1 by 2, the limit of this function, what they are asking, limit x approaches 1 by 2 f of x. What is the answer? 1 by 2 is the answer. I explained LHL. You can do RHL same way. Okay, now let me know in comment sections if you have got the answer or not for question number 5. If you have got RHL value or not. Okay, so I'll give you one question now based on question number 4 and 5, same model question. You try it and you check whether you get the answer or not. Okay, I'll give the question number 6. Try it yourself. Note down the question and try it yourself. I have given the options also, and check what is the correct answer. Okay, now. So 6th question you can try it yourself. We will go with 7th question. Important model question where we are using LHL and RHL to find the answer. Okay, limit x approaches 5 pi by 4, and this is step function, not normal bracket. Step of sin x plus cos x, the greatest integer function. Okay, now, so let us see how to solve this question. what am I going to do is, I'm going to use sine of a plus b formula. And how do I use it? Please observe. First I'll go with the normal solution. First let me simplify it, and then I will start using LHL and RHL. So dear students, what is step of sin x plus cos x? So inside, let me take root 2 common. If I take root 2 common, what happens? So sin x is as it is into 1 by root 2 plus. Similarly, cos x is as it is into 1 by root 2. See, in these two terms, if I take root 2 outside, root 2 common, since here and here we do not have root 2, in denominator we get root 2. Okay, na? And this is equal to what? Root 2 into, this is what? Sin x, and I can write it as cos pi by 4, that means cos 45 degrees, plus cos x into 1 by root 2 is sin pi by 4. So this 1 by root 2 is written as cos pi by 4, and this 1 by root 2 is written as sin pi by 4. And it is equal to step of root 2 into sin a cos b. Sin a cos b plus cos a sin b is what, dear students? Sin of a plus b. That means sin of x plus pi by 4. So therefore, dear students, what is it? This can be written as what? Limit x approaches 5 pi by 4, step of root 2 into what? Root 2 into sin of x plus pi by 4. Okay, fine. I just simplified the question. Okay, now, so using this form, let me find LHL and RHL. So LHL, limit x approaches 5 pi by 4 minus step of root 2 into sin of x plus pi by 4. And instead of x, what are we going to write? 5 pi by 4 minus h. Okay, na? Because x is equal to 5 pi by 4 minus h only, na? So it is equal to what? I'll write this as what? Step of root 2 into sin of, instead of x, we'll write 5 pi by 4 minus h and plus pi by 4. Okay. So this is root 2 into sin of 5 pi by 4 plus pi by 4 is 6 pi by 4. 6 pi by 4 is 3 pi by 2. 3 pi by 2 minus h. And sin of 270 minus h. We know already, we learned this in trigonometry. So root 2 into sin of 270 minus h is what, dear students? It is minus cos, because 270 is odd multiple of 90. Why we get minus here first of all? Because 270 minus h is third quadrant angle, correct or not? In third quadrant sign is negative, so we get minus sign. And this is what? 3 into 90, odd multiple of 90. So sign becomes cos h. So plus into minus root 2 into cos. What is h value, dear students, here? H is what? It is not exactly 0. It is 0 point something. 0 plus only, na? H value is what? 0 plus. So cos 0 means 1. Cos of 0 plus means what? 0.9999 and so on. Correct or not? So which is equal to step of minus root 2 into cos 0 plus is 1 minus. Cos 0 plus is what? 1 minus. A number just lesser than 1. Okay, na? So it is equal to root of step of, see, root 2 into a number just less than 1 minus as it is. Root 2 into a number just less than 1 is root 2 minus. Root 2 minus. So step of minus. What is root 2 value? 1.414 minus. 1.414 minus means 1 point, you can write 1.413 for example. And what is step of minus 1.4 approximately? I mean exactly. Step of minus 1.4 is minus 2 only, right? So what is LHL value? We got LHL value as minus 2. Same way, you can find what is RHL value. You can just pause the video and you can see what is RHL value. So I am just writing RHL here itself, using LHL itself. RHL, so 5 pi by 4 plus, correct? Which means x is equal to 5 pi by 4 plus h. So here also x means 5 pi by 4 plus h. So 5 pi by 4 plus pi by 4 is 6 pi by 4, that is 3 pi by 2 plus h. And 270 plus h, fourth quadrant angle. In fourth quadrant also sign is negative only. And again 3 into 90, odd multiple of 90. So sign becomes cos. H means h. Again same answer. Same answer only, na? Same answer only. Even RHL is also minus 2. So we got LHL as minus 2, RHL also minus 2. So therefore LHL is equal to RHL. Therefore the value of this function, what is it? It is equal to minus 2. Check the steps carefully. Observe where you are getting doubts. Think about it, how we got that particular step. In case if you have any doubts, let me know in comment section. I'll give more clarity about it. Okay na? So we'll go with next question. Here is our next question. If P comma Q are positive real numbers, observe P comma Q are positive real numbers, they are constants. Then they are asking us to find the right hand limit only, not the left hand limit. Okay na? Limit x approaches 0 plus x by p into step of q by x. This is step function, which means greatest integer function. Okay now they are asking us to find this. So please observe how we are solving this particular question. Okay now sometimes these kind of models must be repeatedly practiced to remember. Okay, see how I'm observing, how I'm approaching the solution. It's a different approach, quite different approach, not like how we solved the previous questions, quite different approach. So try to practice this question and remember it. So what I'm going to do is, dear students, limit x approaches 0, 0 plus as it is, and we know that, dear students, we know that any real number x is equal to its integral part plus its fractional part, correct or not? X is equal to step x plus fractional part of x. Similarly, what is step x from this? Step x is equal to what? X minus fractional part of x. From the number, if you subtract its fractional part, you will get its integral part. I will use this definition while solving this question. See how this definition is useful while solving this question. X by p as it is into, instead of step of q by x, instead of step of q by x, let me use this definition. Step of q by x equal to what? Q by x minus fractional part of q by x, correct or not? So x by p into this whole term, Now you can multiply it inside. Limit x approaches 0 plus x by p into q by x minus x by p into fractional part of q by x. Observe, the next step is very, very important. X and x gets cancelled. You will get q by p and minus. Limit can be given only for this term because here limit is not needed. So limit x approaches 0 plus x by p. Observe one thing, what I am going to do is, I'll write the fractional part of x in the numerator. Into x by p means divided by p by x only. Na? What is it? Into x by p means divided by p by x only. And dear students, observe one thing. Fractional part of q by x is always a number between 0 and 1. It can be 0 also. Fractional part of x is always a number between 0 and 1. That means what? Numerator is any number between 0 and 1. It's a finite value. What about denominator? X is 0 plus. 0 plus means what? 0.0000 and so on. P divided by 0.000 and so on is infinite number, correct or not? It approaches infinity only, no? Because x is 0.000 and so on. Because x is approaching 0, p by x is approaching plus infinity. Numerator is a finite value divided by infinite value. What is finite value divided by infinite value? 0. Think about it. So q by p minus 0. So why this entire value is 0 means numerator is a finite value divided by infinite value. So when you are dividing with infinite value, then automatically the answer is 0. So q by p minus 0 is q by p. That is the answer. So therefore the answer for this question is what? Q by p. So do practice this particular model. Okay, now we'll go with next question. Here is our 9th question, a different model. They have given f of x. They have given g of x. Study what is f of x and study what is g of x. F of x is sin x if your input is not a integral multiple of pi. And if your input is a integral multiple of pi, then f of x is equal to 3. Same way, g of x has 3 different functions. If x is 0, if input is 0, then g of x is 5. If input is not 2, it is 3. If input is 3, then the output is 4. And if input is not 0, 3, then g of x is equal to x square minus 1. And what they are asking? They are asking us to find limit x approaches 0, g of f of x. It is a composite function, correct or not? So observe how I am solving composite functions. When limit x approaches 0, they are asking limiting value of a composite function. See how I am solving it and try to use it in different models where they are using composite functions. Obviously, let us find LHL first. LHL is equal to limit x approaches 0 minus g of f of x. So dear students, limit, or let me write like this. So g of f of, instead of x I am going to substitute 0 minus. The input for the function f is not 0, it is just lesser than 0. A number just lesser than 0, is it a multiple of pi or is it not a multiple of pi? Obviously it is not a multiple of pi. A number just lesser than 0 is not a multiple of pi. Therefore, f of 0 minus means I will use this function. Correct or not? So g of sine of, please observe, x means what? 0 minus. Because 0 minus is not a multiple of pi, so I am taking sin x. So sine of x means 0 minus. This symbol is important. Don't write sine 0. You have to write sine of 0 minus. Next, what, dear students? G of. Now you have to decide. Sine 0 is 0. But what is sine 0 minus? 0 minus means minus 0.000 and so on. Where is it? In which quadrant it lies? In fourth quadrant. Negative value only, na? You will get negative value only. What is it actually? Sine of 0 is 0. Sine of 0 minus is 0 minus. Sine of 0 is 0. Then sine of 0 minus will be 0 minus. And a number which is just less than 0. Correct or not? So g of 0 minus. If you understand this step, you will get the answer. So g of 0 minus. 0 minus means an input which is not 0 but less than 0. Go to the function z. See, g of it is not 0. The input is not 0. So don't take this one. The input is not 0. 0 minus means less than 0. So the input is not 0. Na? Take this function. So which is equal to what? X square minus 1. And instead of x, let me substitute 0 minus or 0 only. So the answer is what? Minus 1. Are you understanding? This is very, very important. For the function z, the input is not 0. It is just lesser than 0. Since input is not 0, I will take this function. G of x is equal to this function. X square minus 1. What some students they will do is, they will write f of 0 minus, they will write sine 0, they will write 0. Since input is 0, they will write 5 as the answer. Be careful. It is not exactly 0, it is 0 minus. Now dear students, can you find what is RHS? Will you try it? Obviously. So first of all, pause the video and try it yourself and check the answer. Anyhow, I will explain in the same figure itself, in the same solution itself. I am going to find RHL also. So for RHL, we will take x approaches 0 plus. That means what? F of 0 plus. When input is 0 plus, for the function f, input is 0 plus. 0 plus is not a multiple of pi. Understand that. 0 plus is not a multiple of pi, then I will take sin x only. So sin of 0 plus only. And dear students, what is sin of 0 plus? Sin of 0 is 0. Sin of 0.000 something is what? 0.000 something. Sin of 0 point something is 0 point something. That means what? 0 plus. Again for the function g, the input is 0 plus. The input is not 0. The input is not 0. So we should take this function only again. Again x square minus 1. And x approaches 0. So 0 minus 1 minus 1. So RHL is also minus 1. Some students will be asking, sir, why did you substitute exactly 0? Why did you take 0 plus here? What happens if you take 0 plus, sir? See, I'll tell you one thing. In the same question, if you want to take 0 plus, what we will take? We will say limit h approaches 0. Instead of x, I will take 0 plus h whole square minus 1. Correct or not? That means what? Limit h approaches 0, h square minus 1. Substitute h as 0 now. Over. Again, you will get minus 1 only. No? 0 square minus 1 minus 1. I did it directly. That's it. So dear students, left hand limit is also minus 1. Right hand limit is also minus 1. So what is the answer for this question? Minus 1. Okay. Fine. So I have discussed almost all models in existence of limits. Just one model is left out. What if they have given the graph of a particular function and they will ask us whether the limit exists at that particular input or not? So that is the last question in this particular video. So we will conclude the video with that particular model. Please listen carefully. First I will ask you whether limit exists or not. First you answer it, then we will see. Okay, we'll go with the last question. So graphically, let us see whether limit of a function exists or not. So this is a graph of some function y is equal to f of x. So for the numbers from 0 to 4, observe f of 0 is 6. Okay now, and then the value of the function decreases when we are moving from 0 to 1. Then observe f of 1 is not 4. F of 1 is not even 6. Actually there is no dot anywhere, correct or not? This is open hole and this is open hole. Open hole means that when input is 1, the output is not 4, the output is not 6. Actually when input is 1, there is no value of the function, which means what? F of 1 is not defined. Okay now, and again when we are moving from 1 to 2, when input increases from 1 to 2, the output is same, the output is equal to 6. Next, when input is 2, this is closed hole, correct or not? This is open hole, this is closed hole. When input is 2, the output is 4. The closed hole means what? The output is 4. And open hole means what? When input is 2, the output is not 6, open hole. The output is 4. I hope you understood. Then when the input changes from 2 to 3, the output increases. Okay na? Then similarly, I hope you understood this. This is the graph of y is equal to f of x. 4 options are given and we are supposed to check which is true and which options are true. Okay, which options are true. So I'm saying that it can be single correct or it can be multiple correct also. More than one correct answers are also possible. First you try it, look at the graph and you try it. So once you have completed answering it, now let us see our explanation. Okay now, so what is our explanation? First of all, when x approaches 0, he told that f of x is 6. Let us check whether f of x is 6 or not. When input is 0, the value of the function is 6. Yes, f of 0 is 6. F of 0 is 6. And when you are approaching 0 from the right side, the value of the function is also approaching 6 only. So that means what? F of 0 plus is also 6 only. But what about 0 minus? What about f of 0 minus? The graph is not saying anything when input is approaching 0 from the left side. The graph is not saying anything. There is no graph here. Observe that. That means what? F of 0 minus is not defined according to the graph. F of 0 minus does not exist. There is nothing here. Does not exist or not defined, whatever it is. Since f of 0 cannot be determined, we cannot also talk about limit x approaches 0 f of x. The actual answer is does not exist because left hand limit does not exist. The limit also does not exist. But they gave the answer as 6 now. So option A is not correct option. Okay now come to this. Limit x approaches 1, f of x does not exist. So let us check left hand limit and right hand limit when x approaches 1. First, when input approaches 1 from the left side, when input is approaching 1 from the left side, the graph is approaching what number from the left side, dear students? It is approaching 4. Okay now, so for this, the left hand limit is 4. What is right hand limit? When input is approaching 1 from the right side, the graph is approaching what number? The graph is approaching 6. RHL is equal to 6, correct or not? When input is approaching 1 from the right side, the graph is approaching which number from the right side? It is approaching 6. Left hand limit is 4, right hand limit is 6. Left hand limit is not equal to right hand limit. Therefore, the limit does not exist and it is correct option. Come to the third one, try to answer it. Yes or no? Is it correct or not? When x approaches 3, observe which number? X is approaching 3 now. What is LHL? When x is approaching 3 from the left side, the graph is approaching what number from the left side? 6. So left hand limit in this question is 6. Okay, fine. What about RHL? When the input is approaching 3 from the right side, the graph is also approaching what number? 6 only. Yes, RHL is also 6. LHL is 6, RHL is also 6. LHL is equal to RHL, therefore the limit of the function is 6. Option C is also correct. Now at least please observe, option D is not x approaches 2, it is only x approaches 2 plus. What is the answer? You can easily answer this question. When x is approaching 2 from the right side, the output is approaching what number from the right side? 4 only, no? So option D is also correct. So which options are correct? B, C, D. 3 options are correct. These are true options. Okay now. So these are the questions on left hand limit and right hand limit models. Okay now. In next video or maybe some other video. I will tell exactly in which questions we have to use LHL and RHL, and in which questions we can directly find the limits. Okay, now you will, by seeing the question itself, you will understand whether I should find both left hand limit and right hand limit to check whether the limit exists or not, or can I answer the question directly. We will discuss all these things in upcoming videos. Okay, now do not miss any upcoming videos. So I hope your conceptual clarity about limits is better now. You understood more about limits using these 3 classes. Okay, now so do support our channel. So if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and do comment if there is any feedback. So this is M Sandeep Kumar. See you all in next video about limits.